Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into our first show of 2025, the JP Peterson Show. We thank you guys so much for joining us. IndyCar Tim is in our Dallas affiliate this morning, and obviously we come to you with very heavy hearts after what is just an absolutely brutal and inhumane terrorist attack on the United States and the people of New Orleans and the visitors of New Orleans, of which I have been countless times on that street.
It's my hometown.
Your hometown. That's
Yes.
your hometown, Tim. Boy, that's got to hit hard when you when your hometown gets attacked like that. And once again, mistakes everywhere. FBI completely asleep. Police are completely asleep. Just brutal. And you hate to, obviously there are a lot of brave policemen that answered the call, and but who's ever in charge of security there on Bourbon Street failed miserably. And the attacker, known or should have been known to the FBI and authorities, but they're too busy doing other things like trying to cover up. I mean, I don't know, Timmy. I want to talk about sports, but I'm so angry. About what's going on and what happened.
Yeah.
And obviously from a sporting standpoint, it's about 1,042 on the list of things that are important in New Orleans today.
Yeah.
But they're going to play a football game. And quite frankly, if I had tickets to the game, I wouldn't go. Not even.
Even if you were already there, ready to go, you wouldn't go to the game?
Nah, you think I trust security that's completely compromised in this country? No.
Yeah.
No. Now imagine if you went and something tragic happened. How stupid would you feel?
You've been warned.
As you were laying under the rubble,
Yeah,
like
you've been warned.
For a football game, this is
Yeah.
what I did. Yeah. No, I mean, just, as Sergio says here, and it always seems so inappropriate. I'm not inappropriate, but just not enough. Insufficient is the word I'm looking for. Prayers to the lives and the injured in New Orleans, and absolutely 100% prayers. But it's not enough, man. It's not enough. And the FBI,
Totally asleep,
not only that,
like they've been before.
not only that, first instinct, covered up. Don't matter to have an ISIS flag flowing from the back of the truck.
Let's zip tie it shut before anybody sees it.
Zip tie it shut before anybody. I mean, and then sitting in front of a microphone, right, as the mayor of New Orleans just told the world the obvious thing. It's a terrorist attack. It's not a terrorist attack, says the FBI.
Yeah.
Like,
There's such a thing.
definitely not terror. It's IED. Wait a minute. IEDs. Didn't we see a truck plowing down Bourbon Street? Wasn't that the attack that just mowed over 50 people? 15 are dead, maybe more than 50.
And with a bomb found on the truck.
And a bomb in the trunk.
Undetonated. Yeah.
Yeah. And bombs probably all over New Orleans. Actually, they did detonate some.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Laura Rutledge misspoke, but on a report I heard from her yesterday, she said there were bomb sweeping dogs that swept the Superdome 2 days ago got positive hits, but they couldn't find anything. I heard her say that. I haven't seen it in print anywhere. No, she said that. Unless I misunderstood her, she was just saying that they did a bomb sweep with dogs, but she from what I heard her say, and maybe she misspoke, that there was, some positive traction from that.
Wow.
So I haven't been able to verify that in any other publication, but that too might be being covered up, right? I mean, what trust do you have? That's the thing. It's like, what if I'm going to this game? What trust do I have that these officials have any clue whatsoever what's going on? You can't even put up a bollard on New Year's Eve that you have installed. Why are those not up on New Year's Eve? They're up on football weekends. It's New Year's Eve. The college football playoff is in town. It's Bourbon Street. You have them for a reason. Use them. And by the way, the suspect, have you seen any of his interviews?
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, he's not some just got over here, doesn't speak English type guy. This guy has been involved in high-level Army intelligence.
Sure.
10 years, knows what the hell he's doing, and certainly wasn't working alone. And that's already been confirmed. But also posting on his social medias that he's going to kill people. I mean, before they scrubbed all that. What are we doing? And then you look at what the FBI has been doing for the last 4 to 8, 12 years and what they've been spending their time on, and the most obvious things they can't do anything about. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
Well, and when you look at the city and the stadium, this is not a city or a stadium or a staff that isn't used to big events. I mean, we have Super Bowls here. We have the Sugar Bowl here. We have Mardi Gras here. These are officials and individuals and organizations that are used to protecting crowds. Right.
Yeah, but also, Tim, let's just be honest here. It's the most corrupt place in America, or at least in the top 5 in terms of city officials and politicians. Do we have to go back to the FBI and the Kennedy assassination and everything? This goes long, and it has been so richly corrupt for so long in New Orleans. And if someone were to investigate this, I'm sure they'll find out that this attacker had some confidants within the local police.
Well, I mean, they killed their own governor back in the 30s in Huey Long. These were local authorities that killed Huey Long, by the way. Don't forget this.
So, I mean, it's a place that we read now, and I apologize for probably doing way more research on this than sports today, that there is an infiltration of jihadists in the New Orleans area. Shocking development.
Sure.
Shocking development. And if you think this is the first and the only, no. The Cyber truck, initial reports are the person that did that in Nevada trained at the same base that the New Orleans attacker trained at.
Yeah, I don't think these were separate incidents.
Nope, it's not. And with the amount of people that have come over the border, that we have no idea. Well, we have a lot of idea how many terrorists have come across the border. And the ones just in terms of ratios of the ones that were caught, you can only imagine how many have gotten through and are just waiting for ISIS directions. And here we go. And we're busy. We're busy chasing down grandmas.
People ask me all the time when they hear I'm from the New Orleans area. I mean, I'm not from New Orleans proper. I'm from about 45 minutes south and west of there. But New Orleans is the town, right? So when people hear I'm from the area, oh man, I bet you love to go back and you go and you party all the time. You go to Mardi. You know what, JP? I haven't been to Mardi Gras since 1999 because I saw what was happening to the city. Yeah. It was a joke then. And this is before Katrina. This is, and I've been back to New Orleans since then. I just haven't been to Mardi Gras or a celebration like that. I think the last time I was in New Orleans was 5 years ago, and I was there for one night. Before that, the last time I stayed and partied was probably 2009. It's not a safe place, and I call it home, and I don't feel safe there.
No, the last time we were there, I said, this place, and I've been going there since 1978. Yeah. My first trip to New Orleans was an all-star football game that we played when I was in ninth grade. Mm-hmm. And it was our first time on Bourbon Street. And then, of course, going to Florida State, it was, 8 to 10 times a year you're driving over to New Orleans to party for whatever reason. I mean, I've been, and then professionally every year when we traveled with the Buccaneers, going to New Orleans, Sugar Bowls, countless Sugar Bowls that I've been to covering for Florida State and other outlets. I mean, it's just been, it was a great city. It was a great city. And now, like so many of our great cities, and this is such a shame. This is such a shame because of political corruption and greed, these and agendas, political agendas to destroy our cities by officials and attorney generals that are paid off to let criminals run wild. Facts, by the way. Don't even come at me. It's disgusting what we've allowed to happen in this country. In great cities like the city of New Orleans, you can't feel safe. You can't feel safe. You can't go to New Orleans on a New Year's Eve and feel safe. You can't go to New Orleans for a Sugar Bowl and feel safe. I mean, I don't know. Would you go to the game today, Tim?
No.
No way. There's no way. When I can go sit at a bar in New Orleans and watch it on TV, no, I'm not going in there.
I'm having second thoughts about the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, can the NFL seriously consider going to New Orleans for the Super Bowl? No,
I wonder if there's discussions now. I mean,
there better be. There better be.
Too late to move it.
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know about the infrastructure, but I don't see how you could play it there. And not that, any other American cities aren't compromised as well, but you can bet if there's a large group of jihadists that are in the New Orleans area, and we know that the infrastructure of New Orleans in terms of politics and law enforcement is completely compromised and has been forever. Why would you do this? I mean, they've probably been stalking the Superdome and putting things in place in the Superdome for months and months and months.
Well, and for all we know, they got people working on the inside too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've known for a while that the Super Bowl is coming to New Orleans.
Yeah. Years.
Yeah, they do. It's completely irresponsible at this point to be holding. I'm shocked that they're playing this game today.
I kind of am too. It's kind of soon, right? If you're gonna postpone it, and I understand there's a schedule to keep to, but what's more important?
I mean, we
People's
move
lives
games,
are keeping
games all the time because of hurricanes.
Yeah.
Fly the teams to Atlanta. They just played a game there yesterday. Everybody come to work. Let's go. Let's go. It's not that hard. But I hope I pray for the best. But there ain't no way I would walk in that Superdome today. Hell no. With a concrete roof above me? No. No, thank you. I'm good. It is absolutely ripe for a mass casualty event. And I mean, it's just,
yeah.
And it's horrific.
You're literally you're the day after.
Yeah. And the preliminary reports are, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm reading this, that first of all, there are known accomplices to this, and we don't even know. Of course, they won't be transparent with the public who are going to walk through the gates into this place. Why would we give them all the information so they can make their own choices to be safe? Why would we? Let's right out of the bat as the FBI say it's not terrorism when the dude's got a freaking flag on the back. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, there are strong indications that it's a terrorist attack, but we don't want to. That's fine. To literally say out of your mouth, it's not a terrorist attack. You've already ruled that out from the FBI, whose legacy of missteps and corruption over the past 10 years are unbelievable, literally unbelievable. Almost every known mass shooter, 70% of the mass shooters we've had in the past 8 to 10 years have been known to the FBI. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah.
And most of them had guns, access to all of it, known to the FBI. And these people come out immediately say, yeah, there's going to be a knock at my door here in about 5 minutes. I better just shut up. All right, let's talk about something much more important, like the Pro Bowl snubs for the Buccaneers. Before we go any further, because you guys are nice enough to get up in the morning and join us, and you put comments in here, and I want to definitely respect that you are here, and we thank you as always. Prayers for New Orleans from Jeff Stutler. Absolutely. Sergio wishing us a happy new year and prayers. Nathan Elliott, we were there on Bourbon Street in May. Security was a joke then. Yeah. Not only was security a joke, like I remember walking down Bourbon Street for the little time we did because I told Ashley, I said, we're not going to stay down here. This place is just dirty and nasty and awful. But I think she'd not been down Bourbon Street. So I had to, we just take a stroll. Yeah. And just, smell the urine. Just really good. And see all the trash. But the psychos that were walking around, and there was very little police presence as far as I was concerned. So JP, you were there in New Orleans just after we had went, and you saw the security on Bourbon Street. It's bad. Yeah. And they said there were a lot of cops out, but I mean, having cops out there, and what are the cops doing?
They're going to get run over too.
Yeah. They're just sitting around, hanging out with the horses, they're not doing anything.
They're not a deterrent for something like this.
Sergio says it's the crap that this current administration has allowed into this country. You ain't wrong. Did you see Biden's, loses the teleprompter? Yeah. What a feckless.
Didn't move.
What a feckless, just awful scam perpetrated on the United States that this guy, he's at the top of his game. Media.
People don't say that, do they?
Oh, they said it for 4 years.
Well, I know that, like
he's
in the
sharp
beginning.
as he's ever been. I got to get up early to keep up with him. Okay, for a second there. Yeah. James says, anyone who trusts what the FBI says, what media who has covered up for them says, if you buy anything you are told, you are too far gone. Kash Patel needs to put corrupt officials in jail the first day as FBI director. Lord, if only.
That's the plan.
And this is not politics, folks. This is keeping you safe.
Yeah.
It's not even politics. These people are compromised, and they don't give a rat's ass about you. In fact, they are quite the opposite, and that's shown in their behavior. James says, then you have Coma and Chief Biden losing his place on the teleprompter yesterday. You can't make this. What are we doing? How could this guy still be parading in front of a camera? Really? Like, what a joke. Like, what an absolute joke this guy is. He's still the president of the United States? How is this even legally possible? Commuting sentences of pedophiles all over the place? How is this guy even allowed to do anything?
He might have set the Democratic Party back 20 years.
Well, no, they're the ones who propped him up.
I know, but it's because of that, though. Like, no one's going to trust the Democratic Party for another 20 years.
I hope so.
Not even the Democrats.
Good morning, Rick. Stand down, JP. He says the primary job of the U.S. government is to not protect its citizens. It's to ensure grown men pretending to be girls can use whatever bathroom they want. Evidently, that's the priority. Yes, the FBI busy going after college basketball coaches because of their recruiting.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Nathan Elliott, New Orleans is an overrated shart hole. We had to leave the city to get great Cajun and Creole food. What is being served there? Cheap and lazy tourist trap crap. That's true.
You were going to the wrong places then, Nathan, because I can tell you where to go in downtown New Orleans to get in the French Quarter to get food. And it ain't in the tourist places. But it's still there. It's still there. The locals know. District. Yeah. Especially in the Garden District. Yeah, locals know.
James says, how many ISIS members walked across the border over the last 4 years? What this administration did allowing this to occur is criminal. That's the biggest issue. We don't know how many terrorists got in. Sad. Yeah, it's scary. It's so
I know how many terrorists got in. All of them.
Danny Mercado says, Happy New Year's to the best show. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. We're going to get to sports in a minute here, but we'll make, Nathan says, we will be serving a better jambalaya at our Ragin' on the Cajun tailgate on Sunday. Oh, I bet you will.
Oh, I'm jealous.
There you go. Now. Throwing it out, Timmy. Throwing it out.
Love me a good jambalaya.
So with that, I'm just going to say, I'm angry. I'm so sad. I've seen some of the videos. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And it's not just the people that died and were injured. Anybody that was on that street and saw any of that are traumatically injured for the rest of their life.
You don't forget that. It's like being in a war zone.
Yeah. And as a country, man, and I know this is just the beginning. That's the sad part, Timmy.
Yeah.
And the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back in. These people are here. They are dangerous. They hate America. They hate Americans, and the people running your government allowed all this to happen. And that's the really, really scary part.
And we're going to have to wait another 18 days for something to be done about it.
Yeah. And really, at what point, it's not like January 20th, this all stops. It actually all begins because they're just waiting. And so they can blame everything on him. Oh, he's not keeping America safe. See, look at the chaos that's happening in America. Yeah. Yep. You're about to see it. And don't forget who created it. Not that guy. Not that guy.
JP, we have a whole generation of and I'll call them kids and children because that's who they are, that I see as I'm perusing social media late at night, laying in my bed alone, wondering where my life took such a downturn. That all I see is on their social media, all of this stuff that's happening. They're already blaming Trump because they think he was elected and he took over as president in November. As they say, scream into their phones in their teenage rage, prepubescent rage. Where is Trump now? Everybody said he was going to fix everything. Well, he became president in November. Where is he now? He's not doing anything. I'm like, seriously, do you not understand?
No.
That's what puts me in a rage at night.
No. There's so many things. There's so many things that, half of these kids, their brains have turned to jelly anyway because their mind is addicted to their phone. They have been brainwashed by TikTok and everybody in a very intentional psyop way. Don't be fooled. It's not just people dancing, folks.
No, my
God.
God.
It's TikTok. You want to ban TikTok because they're doing dances?
They can't get rid of my funny animal videos. That's all I enjoy on TikTok is the funny animals.
What am I gonna do? I gotta pick up
Talking
a book.
Dogs and crap.
What am I gonna do?
You know what's really sad, JP?
Learn something.
Is my middle son. Well, one of my middle sons is 16. He's a junior in high school, and of course, Jimmy Carter passed away here recently. I don't think we got a chance to talk about it on the show because of when he died.
Yeah.
Look, Jimmy Carter, yes, one of the worst presidents in history. He was in way over his head. I'm not necessarily a Jimmy Carter the president supporter. I'm a Jimmy Carter the humanitarian supporter. I don't have a problem with that. But Eli came home that day when they were talking about it in school. He goes, "Dad, I bet you over half of my classmates in my grade have never heard of Jimmy. They don't know who Jimmy Carter is."
Oh God, no.
And I'm like,
no way.
He's a president. Like, although it was 50 years ago, yeah, but he was like he's a president, a recent president. I consider that recent. And he's like, none of my friends that I talk to, that I hang out with, have ever heard of him. I'm like, but you knew who he was, right? He's like, yeah.
I knew who Teddy Roosevelt was.
Exactly.
I knew who Abraham Lincoln is. Buchanan, Pierce.
Stuff's not being taught. Stuff's not. My kid knows the answer to a trivia question that I stumped a U.S. history teacher on.
Yeah.
One night at a bar, in one of my drunken stupors, I met this chick, and she said she's an American history teacher.
Oh, my God.
I love American history. I'm like, oh, my God. And she was hot. I'm like, you're going to have to prove it. I need you to tell me the 4 presidents that have been assassinated. And she looked at me.
Oh, my God.
She goes, there haven't been 4 presidents that have been assassinated. And even in my drunken stupor, I'm like, how old are you? She says, I'm 26. I'm like, and you're teaching my kids? I said, no, serious. Rattle off who you think were presidents that were assassinated. And of course, there's the obvious ones, right? Lincoln and Kennedy. And she goes, and I know there was one more. I said, no, there was 2 more, biatch. I was getting mad then. She became way less attractive at this point. But of course, McKinley and Garfield are the other 2. And she's like, oh, you're right. I'm like, oh my God, and you're a history teacher. You have a degree in U.S. history.
We've come so far to the left and to the bottom. It's ridiculous. All right, we'll move on now. to the important things that run our give us sanity, our escapes sanity. And this morning the Pro Bowl the list was out. And let's remember this is fan voting. It is also peer voting. I forget what the exact formulas are.
So
It changes all the time.
Yeah, there's 3 categories. There is fan voting, there is coaches voting, and then I think there's the third
Player
one is
voting. Isn't
player.
voting?
You're right. Okay, there's the 3, and each of those count for a third of the votes,
Okay.
right? So that's how they came up with it. I can't remember how long they've been doing that. Not very long.
Yeah. All right. So the 2 Buccaneers, we have 2 that made it. Tristan Wirfs and Vita Vea are starters. And obviously those are great choices and well-deserved. Baker Mayfield snub. Baker Mayfield should be in the conversation for, as Tristan Wirfs tweeted out yesterday, for MVP. You know, people are talking about Sam Darnold. Baker's and Sam Darnold makes it onto the Pro Bowl. Baker Mayfield's numbers far superior across the board. But Sam Darnold has more wins. Why? Because he has a defense and a head coach that knows how to manage and win close games. You know, they are. I think they've won more one-score games than any team in the NFL over the last 2 years. But then there's the Bucs, who are on the opposite end of that deal.
Right.
Well,
I could make a case for Bucky Irving and Mike Evans to be Pro Bowlers at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard for rookies to make it, you know, in terms of getting their due from the players. But the numbers would suggest yes, and definitely the steal of the draft without question. And Mike missed 3 games, so his numbers are not what they normally are. So I can kind of Mike has never got his due. You know, he's never gotten his due because he's not a big me guy. He's not out there on social media doing all the stuff. He's not doing the gritty. He's not doing, you know, getting all the hype. Not to say that Justin Jefferson is not a phenomenal player. He is. But it's just he's just not that guy. Doesn't ever promote himself. But you know, what does the Pro Bowl really mean anymore? Now that we're doing, you know, not that there ever was a game, but it's become a 7-on-7 flag football event, which is probably what it should be, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't even care about that, to be honest. I don't know why they do it. They should just announce them, and then they should have a party. They don't need to play a stupid game or do skills. I don't care about any of that.
You know what? I kind of enjoyed it last year, to be quite honest.
Just because it was so different. Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. And Baker, of course, won that too.
Yeah.
So, and he'll probably be over here in Orlando doing the whole skills thing. So
right. Oh, and just so everybody knows, if you haven't seen the list, Bucky did not get in deference to Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs. I don't have a problem with any of those guys getting in. Mike Evans passed over for Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Terry McLaurin, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't have a problem with any of those guys getting in.
No,
at all.
Me neither.
The whole Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to write a piece on this for Bucs Country here after we're off the air today, JP, but the whole Baker Mayfield thing, look, I don't know that I call it a snub at this point. I need to think on this. I don't know that it's a snub. Just because you're deserving, your numbers are good enough to get in and you don't make it, it's not always a snub. There are, in this particular season, I think, and you only get 3 spots for the quarterback. By the way, I also think he'll be the first one in when one of those guys goes to the Super Bowl and they have to fill in a replacement. It'll be Baker, I think. So I think he'll get in eventually anyway. But look, when you've got the numbers that Baker does, sometimes there's just 3 quarterbacks that are still better than you in that year. And just because you have numbers that are Pro Bowl worthy, you're not going to make it because of other guys. And look, he's powered the Bucs to another NFC South title here. I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. He lost Chris Godwin for the year in week 7. He lost Mike Evans for 3 games. He didn't miss a beat. He's 3rd in the NFL in passing yards. He's tied for 2nd in touchdown passes. He's tied for 2nd in completion percentage. And the problem is he doesn't ever give up on plays.
Yeah, so he's got more.
That adds to his sack numbers too. He's got 39 sacks this year. That probably hurt him a little bit. But look, what happened last year? He didn't make it as a Pro Bowler. He was added later. And I think that's going to be what happens this year. His year this year is far better, I think, than it was last season.
Oh God,
so
yes.
Is he Pro Bowl worthy? Yeah. Yes, but so are the other guys that are in front of him. But like I said, I think he's going to get in. I think he'll get in. So,
by the way, the definition of snubbed: rebuff, ignore, or spurn disdainfully.
Yeah, it's not a snub for Baker.
He wasn't spurned disdainfully.
No.
I don't think.
I think journalists just use that word as like just however they want, very willy-nilly nowadays.
By the way, the secondary meaning, check the movement of a horse or boat, especially by a rope wound around a post. A horse snubbed to a tree.
Huh.
I did not
Look
know
at that. You learn all sorts of crap on the JP Peterson show.
I did not know that.
I
And
did not know that.
later on in the show, we'll have the definition of targeting for all you Texas fans.
Screw
So
that.
stand by for that.
Anybody that argues that wasn't targeting, then you're just a blind orange blood Texas fan.
Like, I'm like, we're going to review for targeting. I'm like, which ESPN executive are you calling?
It should take about 1 second.
Who's on the line today? Which guy holding the SEC's jock is on the line today?
God, I hated that game.
Who?
Hated that game so much.
And that's what I hate. It's like when they have to go when the guys on the field who are being transparent and can look into a monitor, right? They can make the call. They're the ones who made the call, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't think it was called on the field. They didn't throw a flag.
I don't remember.
No, they did not.
That game was on.
They did not. So then they say, well, it's being reviewed for targeting. Hold on a second while I calculate the ratings for the next game of Arizona State versus Texas. Stand by. You got to check with major advertisers here. Stand by. Be right back.
Let me call Affleck.
Yeah, they said F that. Do we want Texas?
Yeah.
Screw Arizona State. Continue, please. As if you didn't know that was the verdict. Continue on. I mean, if you're Texas, last year you get gifted a playoff spot, right? And this year you get gifted into the next round. I mean, if you're an A&M fan, do I know any? How you feel? How you feeling today? Yeah.
Same way I've been feeling all year about the fraud horns.
It's unbelievable. I'm like, I
Silver
guarantee
spoon.
They're going to New York or what? No, actually, we're going to Bristol. Let's go to Bristol to get the review.
Here's the thing about the fraud horns is, when they owned the Big 12. Like, I don't mean that they were really good and dominated. I mean, they literally owned the Big 12.
Yes, they did.
Right? In
money talks.
Purchase power. They owned the Big 12. That's why they got their own friggin' network.
Yeah.
And so when they were coming over to the SEC, and that's why Horns Down was banned, by the way, because they own the network.
Exactly. Yep.
And they own the league. So when they moved to the SEC as an Aggies fan, dude, I welcomed it because I missed the rivalry. I wanted them back. But in my head, I'm like, the SEC is not going to let them get away with the crap that the Big 12 did in the Southwest Conference back in the day. They're not going to let them do that. And I don't think they did. Here's the problem now, though, is that we have the effing playoff. The SEC doesn't run the playoff. ESPN runs the playoff. ESPN loves Texas. So we're going through the same BS that we went through when they were in the Big 12. And we can't get away from it. I hate it so much.
ESPN and SEC are symbiotic. They're the same thing. And the ESPN will promote that brand over any other brand at any time. And do it right in your face, by the way. Do it right in your face. And people still go, oh, no, that had nothing to do with the FSU stuff. Oh. Please. That's not targeting.
Such a joke.
In case you want to know the definition of targeting, it is contact to the head or neck region to a defenseless receiver. Okay?
Doesn't have to be intentional.
Doesn't have to be intentional. It's contact to the head or neck area by a defenseless receiver, and the other part of it, and with the crown of the helmet. Check, check, check. No targeting. And could not have been a more crucial call in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Could not have been a more crucial call in the game. That puts, I think it almost, and I know they had kicking problems yesterday. Their kickers,
Carrot Top can't kick anymore, apparently.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would have gotten them close to field goal range to win the game. So it's big and certainly wouldn't have allowed Aubrun or whatever the hell his name is to miss a second straight field goal.
Yeah.
It just, come on. That is the joke of all jokes. But it's so, and this is what gets college football people so pissed off. It's like you have no credibility anymore. And in the first year of the system, could you F it up anymore? Like, honestly, when the rules came out, I was like, well, conference, champ, and then highest rated, and like get the bye. And then I was like, it's weird. Okay, let's see how it worked out. You know how it worked out? Awful. It worked out awful. It's terrible. You screwed it up. A damn 12-team playoff that we've been wanting for so long, you effed it up because you're trying to give deference to conference winners and this, that, and the other, and try to play all these stupid games. Yeah. But more than anything, trying to have control over the matchups. You know, it's just like I'm so done with all this stuff. Six conferences, 12 division winners. There you go. By record, pre-established tiebreakers. None of this other bull crap.
Right.
Just I'm tired of the human element.
It needs to be idiot proof. It has to be idiot proof.
Or corruption proof.
Same
would be a better way to put it. Corruption proof.
You're right.
So
if Texas ends up winning the freaking national championship, and I don't think they will, I may never watch college football again.
I know they're ruining it. They're just ruining it for everybody. Ohio State any good, by the way?
Man, I didn't see that coming.
How?
I didn't see that coming at all.
I'm like, how the hell did you lose to Michigan?
How'd you lose to Oregon the first time?
The first time.
Good Lord.
Jeremiah Smith. Oh, my God.
Dude, he's a stud, man.
Just throw it up. Like, just anywhere in the vicinity. Man, men amongst boys. Holy crap. And those, Oregon's no joke. It's a good football team. It's a really good football team. That Ohio State defense, holy hell. They are and freaking are ridiculously talented.
I wonder if Ryan Day's still getting fired. We should have Tito on today.
Yeah. That was just an ass kicking. An ass kick. It was 31-0. Like, and that was
the score when I turned the game on.
That was with 8 minutes left in the second quarter.
I'm like, what's happening here?
And then there's a moment in the third quarter where it's 31-15, where and Oregon has the ball, and I'm going, Ryan Day, you can't. You can't
let this happen.
You can't. And then they got it. They got to stop. Got a couple sacks and then punched it in. So, yeah. So as we go through what we saw yesterday, Timmy, as we transition a little bit here to college football. Sorry, we kind of did that on the fly. The targeting call is a joke, but can we just give a little attaboy to Cam Scatterbo? Like that dude.
I've been tooting his horn all year, man.
Hell. I mean, just the obvious, the running, the passing, the touchdown run. He gets carried into the end zone after breaking 4 tackles. The halfback pass, the catch down the sideline where he bumps the guy off and makes the catch and then almost runs over another dude into the end zone. Wow. And then, the whole time he's yakking on the sideline and he just keep going back in there, handing him the football. I mean, that dude is a throwback. So
I saw him because, of course, I cover the Texas Tech Red Raiders too for Athlon Sports, and the Red Raiders and Arizona State played in week 4 of the college football season. So I got to watch Cam Scatterbo there in week 4. Surprisingly, a Texas Tech 30-22 win in that game in Lubbock. But first time I'd ever heard of Cam Scatterbo. And I was tooting his horn after that game. I saw him at the Big 12 game, Big 12 championship live at AT&T Stadium here against Iowa State. Dude's a beast, man. And he is that program. I mean, and think about Arizona State themselves, where they've come from.
Yeah.
Herm Edwards almost single-handedly destroyed that entire program. All of the sanctions. And then here we are, 3 years later, and they're in the freaking playoff.
That's unbelievable. Two
and they win the Big
seasons,
12,
right?
Yeah.
Or what, 3-9, whatever it was. Yeah. That's, I guess FSU folks saying, man, we let the wrong guy get away. This Dillingham guy, like he's
awesome.
He's a fireball. I mean, he needs to grow up a little bit, in my opinion, but he is
he is young
fireball.
Still.
He's 34 years old. He just got a humongous contract too.
He's a child.
Yeah, in a lot of different ways. How about
Dude was born after I graduated high school, JP.
How about Beamer and Shane Beamer and Bielema going at it?
God, that was great.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
That was amazing.
Why did the coaches keep him away? Let's just go battle royale right there at the freaking logo. Let's go.
That should be, you know what? That should be the overtime decider. If two teams are tied after regulation, let the two coaches fist fight on the logo at center on the 50-yard line, and that's who wins.
That would be fun. Let's start matching up coaches too.
God, that was so great.
Yeah. Who do you think would be the biggest badass in college football?
As a coach?
That you wouldn't want a piece of. I tell you, one guy I wouldn't want a piece of, Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
That dude is big. I didn't realize how big he walked by me on the way to the ReliaQuest Bowl celebration. That dude is big. He's a grown ass man.
I mean, I don't think I'd be afraid of Dion. He's only got 1 foot.
No, I can move. I could stick and move around him.
Yeah, he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah,
oh,
there's
it's a funny discussion.
I bet Belichick, even at 70, whatever it is, be an ornery dude to fight. Like he just stare you down, and you'd like, I don't want to part of this.
I'm afraid to hit him.
Raccoon. Jesus, get the hell out. Get the hell out. Yeah.
Wow.
I think Norvell would get his ass kicked.
It sounds like what we need to
do.
Do.
He'd be plucky for a few minutes, but then he'd take a straight right and just be down.
It sounds like what we need to do, JP, is I'll put together a bracket of college football coaches, and we'll go 1 through 16. We'll do a 16-team bracket of the toughest coaches.
Yeah.
We'll just vote them, see who wins.
Napier strikes me as like one of those backwoods, like
kind of feisty, right?
Kind of feisty. Like he's the guy at the bar where he just seems very, he's not the one that's going to kick your ass. He's the friend, but he's the one that hits two shots that ends the whole thing. He just gets up after you all start fighting. He just slowly gets up out of the bar stool and walks over and dots 2 eyes and goes back to the bar and finishes his beer.
Yeah,
that kind of strikes me. And Cristobal is the big guy that everybody's afraid of. That's probably the biggest wuss of the bunch.
Right. I don't know that I'd be scared of him. He'll talk you to death,
he's
but
big,
I don't.
He's a big man. He's a big man, though. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side and get into the Bucs stuff here as they get ready for New Orleans. And I don't think it's any stretch to say there's a bit of a distraction for the Saints this week. If they planned on playing hard, I don't know where that's going to be come Sunday, to be quite honest. So we'll get into that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have any issues in the legal realm, they will give you a free case evaluation. How about that? That's good. So you have any legal questions, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Just email them, tell them some particulars of their case. They'll give you a free case evaluation, and off you go. So tell them JP sent you as well. JEEVESLawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Back in 3. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCar Tim. That bare window over there on that side of me will be JP Peterson eventually when he gets back to his spot. Welcome into the show on a Thursday. Welcome all of the new people. Our numbers are way up today. Appreciate you guys sharing the show, sharing the network. Don't forget, we got other shows here too. The Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim Show. That's me. You can hear here on FanStream Sports Wednesdays and Mondays at Eastern time would be 8 to 10 Eastern time in the evenings. A lot of fun stuff over there for you. But we've been talking, of course, paying our tribute to the horrible thing that happened in New Orleans, how it affects the Sugar Bowl, how it could affect the Super Bowl. You guys don't forget the Super Bowl is in New Orleans on February 13th, I believe. We're trying very hard to be there to represent FanStream Sports and the JP Peterson Show for you live from Radio Row in New Orleans, but we'll see how that is impacted by the events of yesterday. And, of course, the college football playoff, how we are progressing through the very first 12-team college football playoff. I have to say it's probably gone about the way I've expected it to go. That Arizona State-Texas game was a little closer. Got my hopes up a little bit that Texas would get bounced. But it wasn't to be. ESPN won't let that happen until later in the bracket. Of course, talking Bucs, getting ready for the Saints this week. The Saints, of course, as JP mentioned before the break, probably going to be a little distracted this week with the occurrences that just happened in New Orleans. And, you hate seeing stuff like that, but that might be a good thing for the Bucs. I don't think the Bucs were going to have any problem with the Saints anyway. They're in Tampa. The Bucs are rolling, and it's a must-win game for Tampa Bay. And dealing with injuries, I believe before the Panthers game, as JP and I discussed that game and previewed it, the Buccaneers had no less than 18 players on their injury report. Well, good news, Bucs fans, because we're down to 10 on the injury report for the Bucs heading into Week 18, the final week of the regular season. Some question marks after Wednesday's practice for sure, as Cade Otton did not practice on Wednesday. Antoine Winfield Jr. did not practice on Wednesday. Payne Durham did not practice on Wednesday. Jamel Dean did not practice on Wednesday. And you've got some guys that were limited. Devin Culp, William Golston, Bucky Irving was limited with a shoulder and a shin. Sterling Shepard dealing with a hamstring. Tristan Wirfs with a foot and a knee. And Mike Evans, but that was just rest for him. JP, as we're discussing the Bucs injury report as it dropped.
Anybody
from 18...
have hangover bowel issues from New Year's Eve?
JP's got. That might be the first time we've ever heard a toilet flush live on the air on the JP Peterson Show.
Oh, awesome. That's fantastic.
I don't know if it was you or Ashley, so I don't want to say anything on the air.
That was me. That's me. That's what happens when you get to be my age.
Oh man, things don't
Post.
sit straight with you sometimes.
This is why we don't do hard drinking nights anymore.
Not before shows.
One of the many reasons.
Yeah. Can't or during shows anymore, for that matter.
Yeah, the list of injured for the Bucs is long and distinguished.
But it's not as long as it was last week when we had 18 players.
Yeah,
we're down to 10.
And somehow they go out and just thrash 48-14 of the Carolina Panthers. And I'll say this: if that team shows up the rest of the way, and even defensively, they were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it could have been so much better. But that team appears to be able to beat just about anybody in the NFL. Now I understand the better quarterbacks in this league are going to rip up this Bucs defense, but I don't think there's a defense in the playoffs that I see that can stop the Buccaneers offense. Not the way it's humming right now. Not as good as they've been.
No, nobody that I would be scared of. I'm not afraid of the Detroit defense. You've already beat them once.
No. God,
I'm
no.
not afraid of the Eagles defense. You've already beat them once.
Yep. The Commanders defense is nothing to write home about.
No.
And the Packers defense, they can be had.
Yeah, they haven't been good recently.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. I mean, they have a puncher's chance against anybody. God, just imagine if if the Bucs had an average defense.
Vikings?
I mean, okay, good. But this Bucs team, look what they did to the number one scoring defense in football. I hung 40 on them.
Yeah.
Hung 40 on them on their own field. On their own damn field. So who's to be scared of at this point? The only person that can stop this Bucs offense is Baker Mayfield or Rashad White fumbling the football.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. And when
Can you imagine what we'd be talking about right now had Rashad White not fumbled that ball?
Yeah, because they're going to score.
And they march down the field and kick a field goal.
They need 2 more first downs against that Cowboys defense with 4 downs to get it. They were going to score. No
would
question
be a
about it.
completely different. Or if they just won one of the games against Atlanta.
Yes, that were gifted. I mean, there were and the Chiefs game. I mean, you go to every one of their losses this year. Every one of their 7 losses, except the Denver game, which was even more weird when you look at that game at home.
6-7.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Did they get blown out in any other game? I'm trying to think.
In the losses, no, you lost by 3 to San Francisco.
Yeah.
It was just the Denver game. Then you lose by
Ravens.
6.
Ravens. They got smashed against the Ravens.
Third,
That was it.
Well, I mean, the final score was 10, but it wasn't, or 10 different, but it wasn't that
Well, that's
close.
because we had our starters in and lost Godwin and Evans. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Here we are.
Nope, that's it. That's all you get. So, but here's the thing, and I hate to mention this, but I don't even know what the Saints' schedule has been this week. Did they even go into the facility? Yesterday on the normal Wednesday. Did they? I know it's not close to Bourbon Street. It's out by the airport.
Yeah.
I get that. But if they're in the same place, they were. So I get that. But I mean, like, do they even go to work? I don't know. Even when they go to work, what do you talk about? Like, hey guys, heads up. We're talking about the Bucs porous, great wide open defense here in the middle. Yeah. I mean, and we don't know if Carr's playing, who we're going to see. Now, that first game was weird. Remember, the Bucs go up 17-0 out of the gate. Then they're behind 27-24 at halftime. Then they outscore them 27-0 in the second half. A huge third quarter. And mostly because I think Baker threw a couple of picks in that game. 3 picks, I think, in that game. And I remember this about that game also. They baited Baker into a couple picks where, they break their own coverage rules. The underneath guy falls off and gets into the throwing lane and gets the pick. Yeah. So Baker's got to be. He's been susceptible to that a few times this year. Defense, good. Defense coordinators are picking up on that, but that's a gamble. That's a gamble you take. If he's being careful with the ball and checking it down, then there's going to be space open underneath, and you got to make them be honest and come up and play that flat route until they're honest about it. Then you can go over their heads. Right. So he can be baited into that. There's no question about it. So be careful of that. But these are things that, the Bucs and Liam Cohen have been learning as the year goes on. So I think there's obviously the Saints have nothing to play for. I know it's a divisional game. They want to wreck the Bucs' hopes. I get all that. But the fact of the matter is they're not very talented. They're depleted. No Chris Olave, no Taysom Hill. As I mentioned,
Alvin Kamara didn't practice.
And Alvin Kamara hasn't played and hasn't practiced. I mean, they just don't have a lot. They don't have a lot. The Bucs should win this game going away. And if they don't, it's an absolute – it shouldn't be close. It really should not be close. They lost to the freaking Raiders at home last week. I mean, come on. That's not a laydown. I don't know what is. So let's just take care of business here.
Well, and if you're smart and you're the Saints and you've got Kamara, even if he's okay to play, Derek Carr, even if he's okay to play, why play them? The game doesn't mean anything, just unless you're that hell-bent on playing the role of spoiler against the Bucs. And I don't think that's the most important thing. I think the most important thing is making sure you don't hurt your guys more here going into the offseason.
Right. And what's their level of do they hate the Bucs that much that they want to go out and improve something?
Do they care? I mean, if everybody's healthy and you can play the role of spoiler, then by all means.
Yeah.
But you've got big health issues with your stars.
Right. Your playmakers.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, this game, I hate to say this, but every time you say it's a layup for the Buccaneers, like last year's Panthers game at the end of the year, you're like, okay, and then next thing you're in a 9-0 dogfight or 6-0 game, and they score a touchdown and thank God it's taken off the board. I mean, that's so. And this has been the MO of Todd Bowles teams. They show up for big games, and then they go to the Dallas against a team that got beat 40-7 the next week. And just lay a freaking egg. Again, I mean, you go to Detroit and beat the Lions, and then the next week you got Bo Nix coming in, and the Denver Broncos, a game you're favored by I think they're favored by 9.5 points, and you get boat raced. And I think they scored 7 points that game. I mean, what are we doing? So that this lack of consistency has been an issue for the Buccaneers. As much as we want to say this is a wagon going into the playoffs, it should be. This should be another 48-14 shellacking of a divisional opponent like we saw last week. That's what this should be. Carolina actually is better than the Saints are, in my opinion. And so you should destroy them. If you're focused, if you're angry, you're still angry. And that's one of the things that Mike said after the game last week that kind of really caught my ear. Is that, we were angry. Well, stay angry. Stay angry. The entire, use the Pro Bowl snubs, for another month. You go out and be focused and angry and play like you should play every week. This is professional football. There should be a level of consistency. And we haven't seen that from this Bucs team. I don't want to get negative on them. I'm just, the expectations are what they should be. This is a team that offensively, with Liam Cohen and the weapons that he has, is rolling. You got a really good offensive line. You've got maybe the best swing and miss running back in the game in Bucky Irving. And that's backed up by facts. He's got more yards after contact than any back in the league. You've got an offensive line that is as good a gap blocking offensive line as I think there is in football. And you got a running back stable that I think can roll up. What did they do? 277 against the Saints last time. And that was with brain farting here. Sean Tucker,
right,
getting 192 yards in the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. If you want to give Bucky a little bit of a break this week because he's got all these injuries, well, run the hell out of Sean Tucker. I'm not saying bench Bucky. That's not what I'm saying. But, get out there, get a lead, and then let Sean do the dirty work and get rested and ready for who's coming in. Now, if Seattle beats the Rams, okay, then they can jump up. The Bucs can do the number 3 seed and play the Commanders or Packers, which honestly, that's a better outcome. The Lions, or you're going to play a 4 seed and play the Lions Vikings loser from this week's game. When is that game, by the way? Is that a Sunday night game? It should be. The Lions Vikings. Anyway, it's going to be a primetime game. So the loser of that comes here if you win. And, if it's the Lions, Jared Goff, even though we held him to 10 points in the first game, they were in the red
Lions
zone.
Vikings Sunday night, yeah.
Sunday night. So, is that going to happen again? Doubtful. The Lions are an offensive wagon against this defense. It's like I guarantee you, if that playoff game is going to set the over-under record for this year, like the over-under on that game is going to be what? 58, 59? Lions Bucs playoffs?
Would think, yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. It might even get into the 60s. And if it's anything lower than 70, I'm betting over. That's going to be a shootout. And the fact that the Bucs just cannot take the ball away, 7 interceptions on the entire season, a league low 2 interceptions in the past 10 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dead last. And you go out, and I'm watching the tape, the all 22 from this last game. There's 3 or 4 passes that Bryce Young throws up that should have been picks. And they never look and find the ball, these defensive backs. As Todd Bowles said, get your head out of your ass and go attack the football. It's mind-numbing. And if you look at the play, by the way, and this is somebody put in here, Levante David got screwed out of we didn't mention him as a snub.
No.
And I would say he got snubbed again because he's had a hell of a season. He's had one hell of a season at 34 years old. Mm-hmm. He has been tremendous. I don't know who got in ahead of him, but he's definitely should have been a Pro Bowler. So he's a guy that causes fumbles. Antoine Winfield Jr., who's probably not going to play this week, right? I don't think he's
questionable right now, but I mean, yeah, he hasn't practiced.
Yeah, so I don't, and he's been a guy that could take the ball away. So if you go into the playoffs, you've got to get some turnovers, especially with Baker. You're playing against better defenses. He's going to have a couple turnovers, Baker or the offense just in general. I don't want to put it just on him because he's got to play that way for this offense to run. He's got to take some chances, right? Any good quarterback is going to take some chances. So you got to have your defense answering in terms of getting turnovers. It's okay to turn the ball over a couple times if your defense can get a couple or at least one. If you're -1 in the turnover ratio, you still got a decent chance of winning the game. You're -2, I think it goes to about 75% loser.
Yeah.
-1 you can stomach, especially with an offense that averages 30 points a game. That's okay. But -2 and -3, you got no shot to win. Especially in a playoff game where you got quality opponents and quality coaches on the other side. So that's got to be something that you just can't have. What other notes did I have on this game?
By the way, linebackers in the NFC in the Pro Bowl: Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jared Verse, Zach Braun, and Fred Warner.
Oh, they count outside linebackers too?
Mm-hmm.
In the linebacker category, they give you 4.
Those are the 5. Yeah, you get 5.
How about Jared Verse? That's a pretty good pick.
It's a pretty good pick, huh?
And Fisk, Braden Fisk too, with the Rams. Totally transformed their defense in one draft. That FSU team was pretty good, huh?
Pretty stacked, huh?
Yeah.
You want some good news for the Bucs cause this week?
Yes.
If you're looking at the Saints, and their motivation to lose the game, right now, the New Orleans Saints would pick 10th in the NFL draft. They can't move down, but with a loss, they could certainly move up in the NFL draft.
Okay.
If they decide to do that, because so they're the only team at 5-11 in the league right now.
Oh,
in front of them,
that could be a big jump because their strength of schedule is going to be super weak. Right. So that'll give them a better pick in the tiebreaker.
So teams in front of them with a worse strength of schedule rating, that if they lose, so Chicago loses and New Orleans loses, New Orleans would jump. Las Vegas and the Giants. Well, the Giants are only 3 wins, so yeah, that wouldn't matter. But yeah, the teams at 4 wins in front of them are Chicago, Las Vegas, Jets, Carolina, and Jacksonville.
So they can move up significantly with a loss.
With a loss, and then some.
And this
some
just
other
in, they
teams
need a
winning.
quarterback. Not that there's not a great field of quarterbacks in this draft.
No, and you know what's funny is I did a mock draft. I forgot whose it was, A to Z Sports or somebody that I did for the Browns, and the Browns are would pick third right now, and New England and Tennessee are in front of them. The mock draft that I did, New England and Tennessee both passed on quarterbacks. So Cleveland picking at number 3 had their choice of Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward.
Tennessee passed?
In the mock draft that I saw, yeah, Tennessee went. I forgot what defensive tackle they picked. Yes, and again, it's a mock draft. It's a guy that's writing for it. It's whatever he thinks, right? It's
Right,
but
right.
I don't know that. I mean, is Tennessee locked in on who's he? What's it?
Will Levis?
On Will Levis because he ain't that great.
No, he's not.
He never was. You
No.
know.
A little weird.
I mean,
too.
New England's not going to take a quarterback. We know they're not
No,
going to take.
they
a
got
quarterback.
Drake. No, they're
So
good.
Tennessee, if they take a quarterback, and again, these are week 17, not after
The
week
Giants are taking a quarterback.
8. Yeah, right now the Giants are behind Cleveland
Right.
because of strength of schedule at 3-13.
Boy,
But
are these quarterbacks going to get overdrafted? Woo.
well,
I think
yeah,
Shador can play. I'm not in the Shador is all hype camp, but I think Shador is really, really good.
can he play without his dad though? He never has.
Yeah, I think he might be better. Come on.
I mean, he might be. Yeah. He might
I mean,
be.
just look
I
at
don't know.
look at the raw. Look at the raw. The dude is extremely accurate, great velocity, good touch on the deep ball, runs around, very elusive, super smart. I mean, all the accoutrement around him.
Yeah.
Dion. Listen, for all of his hype and everything, he runs a pretty tight ship.
Yeah.
He does not put up with shenanigans as much as other coaches,
Especially
do.
from his own kids.
No, he does not.
Be the
They
example.
are disciplined, hardworking, respect the game kids. They're not yahoos. And Shador, I think, is going to be a successful NFL quarterback, unless I would be wary of the whole Dion Shador as a package deal. Like if the Raiders are thinking, and Tom Brady has a connection with Dion and Shador, like he tutored Shador at points of his younger career.
Right.
So they have a connection there already. Obviously, Brady is he kind of the de facto GM in Vegas? Is he
what we're
taking
saying.
over that
Yeah.
role? Is that what we're hearing?
That's what we're hearing. Yes.
When he leaves Fox after this year and becomes full-time GM.
giving up all that money.
I'm sure the Raiders will replace it. I think they'll be
Oh
fine.
yeah.
And again, I'm not sure he needs it, to be quite honest. I mean, think of all that crypto he's got.
So yeah. But look at the Raiders too. Like right now, the Raiders don't pick until 8th. So
they'd have to.
Is there going to be a Shadur or Cam Ward there
at
at 8? You've got
probably
New England,
not.
Tennessee, Cleveland, Giants, Jacksonville, Carolina, Jets.
Well, who needs
and
a
Las
quarterback? Who needs a quarterback out of that group? I would
Tennessee.
argue Tennessee,
Cleveland,
Giants, right?
Yeah, Jets.
Jets. Well, is Jordan Travis still on the roster there?
That's a good question.
They took him in the 5th round, right? Because that guy they got's not very good. He's kind of old.
Yeah, he's still on the roster.
Yeah. What did he have, a 1.2 quarterback rating last week, Rodgers?
It was so bad, dude. It is hard. Look, I hate Aaron Rodgers. That's no secret to anybody that watches any of my shows or reads any of my columns. But to watch his failures this year, to me, it's comical. It's great football. I've been watching more Jets football than I have ever before in my life.
I watched like portions of that. Well, they had, I was watching Red Zone, so they kept going back to it, and it was like every time sack, sack.
You can't move.
You can't move. You cannot move, and he's not that great throwing the football anymore.
No.
Again, if you're gonna break the bank for a quarterback, okay, if you're gonna give up stuff or money or whatever, the Atlanta Falcons. Like, why are you doing it with those type of risk factors of age and Achilles? Like, what are you doing? I know the Jets were locked into this year with him after the Achilles.
Right.
But even at his age, bringing him over at that particular point, I just don't, they're not. Brady did it because Brady was what made him great, he still had.
Right.
Like big arm, great intelligence.
His forte was not moving around.
Right, exactly. And with Rodgers, I mean, that he's a guy that as great as he has been, and not saying he didn't play well from the pocket, but most of his big time plays were on the move. Like that was his forte.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have it anymore. Just bad. So and Kirk Cousins, 36 years old, coming off an Achilles. Like, what are you thinking?
Dude, that is mind numbing. It still is.
What are you thinking? With all the other options that were out there and a high draft pick, and you love Michael Penix, which is going to turn out to be a great pick. By the way, I never have a problem with the pick. I had a problem with signing Kirk Cousins and then picking him. Like, that was the problem. That's where Terry Fontenot screwed up. But maybe
his days got to be numbered in Atlanta.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Arthur Blank. He was so sick of not having a quarterback. He's like, go get me two.
Yeah.
Go get me two. But why you would pay that much. I mean, was the Kirk Cousins market that big? Like were there teams lining up to pay him $100 million guaranteed?
I mean, I think the market was large for him. I don't think it was for $100 million guaranteed. But I think there were teams that were interested for sure.
I don't get it.
I mean, I'd have been interested in him for the Cowboys as a backup. As a starter, though.
No, right?
And not at $100 million. Good Lord. We're still you and I poked fun at that signing when it happened. And then here we are almost a year later, and I think we were right.
I think we were right. No question about that. Christopher Cole says LBD should be a Pro Bowler. Agree. Mike Stover, Ryan Day is no slouch. Thoughts?
Don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
You're a tremendous slouch. The greatest Caddyshack lines of all.
Love it.
Bucs raised bolts. Good morning to you. Said Bucs got robbed. Evans and Baker and David for no Pro Bowler. I think Tim was right. Evans and Baker were not snubbed. They were just
beat out
by good players. Yeah. I think those are reasonable.
And I still think Baker gets in. But
Levante got shafted like he always does. Seahawks got nothing to play for. I know, but that's another rivalry. I think the Seahawks will want to go in there and they'll be heavily motivated. I think Geno Smith's still healthy. Like most of their guys are still healthy, right?
Yeah.
They got Charbonneau and Charbonnet, sorry. And so I think that's one of those where they're going to be playing with house money, playing loose, playing spoiler. Yeah. Now the Broncos win and the Chiefs lose, right? The Chiefs aren't playing Mahomes, Pacheco, Chris Jones, like none of their stars are playing. So
Carson Wentz is starting that game for them.
Yeah. So I would say the Bengals, as much as I think we'd all love to see them in the playoffs and Joe Burrow, I think they've got to have the Chiefs win to get in. So
by the way, when was the last time your league MVP missed the playoffs?
Is that a trivia question?
I mean, I don't know. I'm asking because if Burrow doesn't make the playoffs, he's there's a lot of people think he's the MVP over even Josh Allen.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen though. It's good. It's a good. I mean, his numbers are off the charts. And I think if you're going to be the most valuable player, you got to be a playoff team, right? I don't know. That's always such a.
It's also open to interpretation.
Yeah. Rick says Bucs dropped 50 on New Orleans after the hurricane. Hopefully they don't feel as inspired and play hard. I just don't see what New Orleans can play for.
What if we did this for the league's most valuable player? What instead of having it voted on, and I haven't given this any thought other than it just literally popped into my tiny brain.
It's always the best line.
What if we had a point system for the skill players? Because those are all the people that win it, running backs, wide receivers. You have a point system now for stats, right? So like quarterbacks and receivers, you'd get a certain amount of points for it, or like a fantasy thing, right? And you get points for touchdowns, you get points for yards. A quarterback would lose points for a fumble and a interception. Players would lose points for turnovers.
Yeah. Take the human element out of it. Yeah.
And this guy's got the most points. He's your MVP.
Take the curmudgeon media people and their agendas out of it.
Screw their voting rights.
I'm going to say that's a bad idea at all. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
you can
well,
have, what you should have is like Madden should have their MVP of the year, or not Madden, whatever big fan, every fantasy DraftKings should have their fantasy football MVP of the year. Who, like in most leagues, it was probably Josh Allen.
Probably.
Because I would think Josh Allen would have won that going away.
Yeah.
If the Bucs got a good lead, would they rest their starters? They freaking better. Good
Boy,
God,
I would
Jeremy.
think you'd have to be 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you're up by 3 touchdowns for something like that to happen. I don't think you do it before then.
I don't know. I mean, if you're up 40, if you're up 3 scores in the third quarter, and if it's like 30, it's 31-7, and they've got their offense is not going anywhere at the third quarter, I'm pulling.
Then rest your offensive players.
Yeah, I'm pulling everybody. Yeah, offensive. Yeah. Well, I don't think you can rest if you don't have that many defensive players left.
Yeah, you don't have anybody playing.
Christopher Cole says 6% of people go out on New Year's Eve. Is that true?
Oh, it's got to be more than that because I saw more than 6% of the people the other night.
Yeah, right. Jeremy says Olavi was a full participant. I read where he's been on injured reserve.
Yeah, Olavi is not playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's playing. And why would you bring him
back?
back?
Oh, I take it back. He was a full participant.
Is he on that stated to return IR list?
He must be because he can't practice unless you are. And I'm looking at the Saints injury report from Wednesday. He was a full participant. I don't know why you do that.
Hopefully pancake Jordan to retirement. Dude is a clown. He's a pretender at this point. I mean, he cannot, he's just a shell of himself. He's just hanging on, doing interviews, trying to set up his broadcasting career, which will be, I think, very prolonged and
long and distinguished.
Long and distinguished, and very much like my Johnson. I hate hockey and the 10:30 puck drop. That ridiculous easy. We got one tonight out in San Jose. San Jose. I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Because hockey it's got that natural sound to it where you can kind of doze off a little bit. It's a shh.
Right.
Click,
so,
click, click, shh.
So I can give some perspective to this because, of course, the Dallas Stars and the Texas Rangers, before just a couple of seasons ago when they did realignment, the Stars played all West Coast teams. We were in the same division with the Kings, the Sharks, the Knights, Flames. Like all of our road games were late, and we're not, we're an hour earlier in the Central Time Zone. But the Rangers, every time they go on their West Coast road trips, those games would start at like 9:30 local time. And
by the way, what happened to the Mountain Time Zone?
It's still there.
Is it?
Yeah, it goes Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern.
Right. But like sometimes of the year it doesn't. It's like,
well, so cities like Phoenix doesn't do daylight savings time.
Right.
So sometimes it's the same as Pacific.
Yeah. So Denver is 2 hours.
Denver's in the mountain,
right?
Aren't they?
Yeah, they should be. Michael LaRue, good morning to you, you bastard, telling everybody that I had Alabama by 16. I did. I was like, Alabama's going to crush me.
Oh, you did, man.
Michigan had 11 guys that weren't playing. Their entire defensive line was out. I'm like, oh, my God, Milrow's going to run for 250 on these guys. Like, he's going to be. But this is what I didn't know. Milrow wasn't going to run.
We couldn't hold on to the ball long enough to run.
Well, yeah, that was part of it. But once it dried up, like there were people, and I was watching the game going, why is he not running? He Cam Warded it.
Yeah, he did. Hey, JP, here's your time zone map right here, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there, yeah, what I was referring to, didn't we used to have like half the year Mountain Time Zone didn't go daylight savings? Like you're saying, like Phoenix didn't do it. Like
so to me,
places that didn't do it. Yeah.
As far as I know, it's only 2 states. It's Arizona and Indiana.
Right.
That don't do daylight savings time. Now, when Trump takes over, he says he's going to abolish daylight savings time.
What? Another great
idea.
I'm
okay with that.
Another great idea. Yeah. I mean, can we give a little hats off to Michigan? They just punched Alabama in the face. They just punched Alabama in the face. And it was, I was down there on the sideline. And I'm going to tell you what, like Michigan was there for business. And Alabama, and did you see Milroe doing his NIL
before the
videos
game?
before the games?
Yes.
And he did not run the football. Like especially in the second half. Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird game. And by the way, Alabama opens up at FSU next year. And everybody was so terrified. Don't be.
Yeah, don't be.
Alabama's not. They are not. And I hate to say, put it all on Kalen DeBoer. But the fact of the matter is, this is why Saban got out of the game. Like, you can't coach players the way you used to, like the way Saban coached them. You can't, because they'll be in the portal the next day. I mean, Saban got the best out of his players and demanded discipline, focus, and all these things. Kalen DeBoer and every one of these coaches can't coach that way anymore because these kids are so soft that they'll be in the portal. That you yell at them one day, or bench them in practice, or throw them off the field. The next day, they're in the freaking portal. So you can't. And so the level of play at Alabama has come down dramatically. And also because the talent pool is evening out. Nick was and back in the day, like if you even sniffed like transferring, he'd clean out your locker. Yeah. And like it was freaking,
no longer welcome here, sir.
Then there was a Gestapo. It was like if you got a text from another coach, like he would know about it. And your clothes were out on the front lawn when you came to practice.
We've all been there.
And people were like, "Oh, damn, Nick must have heard he was talking to the other coach." And so there was like this fear through the entire program. But and he, it can only do that for so long. Yeah. So now, and if you didn't play at Alabama, you sat behind starters, NFL players for 2 or 3 years and got better in your game and got bigger and faster. By the time you hit the field as a junior, you were a badass, and that he could just stack these teams, because they had nowhere to go. And now now you don't play for 2 weeks and you're like portal. So
yeah. And by the way, Jalen Milroe has not decided if he's coming back or if he's going to the NFL.
Well, I got news for you, son.
You ain't getting drafted.
Take the $6 million in college, because you ain't getting that in the pros ever.
I mean, where would he go? I mean, even with the shortage of quarterbacks, he's not going before the third round, right?
I don't see it. I mean, I don't know
unless
if
some
was
team
just
is just
prepared for that game or whatever, but and the ball was wet, in the first half. I get it, but
don't play somewhere where it's going to rain a lot.
Yeah,
stay out of Tampa.
Yeah, that was not good. How about this, Quinn Ewers?
Meh.
No, like there are reports everywhere that he has a $6 million deal with some other college football team. No, not to
transfer.
To transfer.
Well, he ain't starting
playing for Texas. Year. What's that?
He ain't starting at Texas next year.
Well, at least that's what he thinks. Because he's, the word is he's got a $6 million deal at a school to be named.
Oh,
that so there he is playing for Texas, going for a national championship, getting the road paved by the SEC and ESPN, no targeting. And this dude is like, and everybody on his team knows that he's jumping ship. How weird is college football? How weird is college football?
Where would it be? Alabama?
Maybe.
Wow.
Who was he heavily recruited by? Everybody, right? I mean, he was heavily recruited by everybody.
I wonder if it would be a Texas
Georgia
school, though.
Georgia?
I know he's from here. He's from here in Dallas.
SMU. Jennings is young. What about A&M? Texas A&M.
I mean, Marcel Reed. He's probably better than Marcel Reed.
Oh, yes.
How funny would that be?
How about how much money? Like Texas A&M, of course they would. How big would that be if Quinn Ewers won a national championship for Texas and A&M went in there and plucked them?
It'd be a very A&M thing to do too,
right? Like we suck, but we got money. We can't win for shit, but we got money. We just gonna go build for us a quarterback from the Longhorns.
Hey, if we can't win it off the field, we're going to take your best player away, and we're going to not let you win it on the field.
When it comes to football, we all had no cattle. But damn it, we got money. We got money. We gonna go buy us a quarterback from the Burnt Orange. Yeah. They're all sitting around the big fireplace, drinking $25,000 glasses of whiskey. Yeah. I'm gonna go piss this out. And then I'm gonna write a check for Quinn Ewers. Watch me. Yeah, we was $72 million for getting rid of Jimbo. Chump change.
Now you're gonna get my hopes up that he goes to A&M.
Oh, like that
He's
we
not
should just
going to
start
A&M.
that fire right now. Go write that. Go write that on some blog.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to source the J.P. Peterson show.
Damn right. We have sources. I just interviewed
I just interviewed J.P. Peterson on his own show.
Tex Jones, oil man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll discuss this with
booster.
tech tags.
Yeah. Like how big when you show up at the country club or the hunt club or whatever the hell you do down there in Texas, you show up there and you're the guy that wrote the check that bought Quinn Ewers from Texas.
Oh, you know what's funny? So
You're a legend. You're an effing legend. You think Underwood for $10 million is a big deal? Watch this.
So
and that's the mentality. I mean, let's just be honest. There's these alumni got nothing better to do with their money. Sure, they could go save millions of children in Africa, but nope, I won't buy me a quarterback from Texas. From Texas. We gonna go get him.
So what's funny, JP, is every year at the Byron Nelson PGA Tour event here in McKinney, right down the street from my house.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Johnny and I go and hang out, and we drink with some hoity-toities.
Yeah.
Sark's always there, and we always drink with Sark, all right? Sark, it's been 3 years in a row, so Sark knows me he knows because nobody forgets his face. He doesn't know my name for crap. All he knows me is Aggies Lover. What's up, Aggies Lover? How great would it be for me next year when I see Sark at the Byron Nelson to walk up to him, hand him Sark, I just wanted to buy you a drink. Like he pays for drinks anyway. Right, I want to buy you a drink. And man, I'm really sorry about Ewers.
But it's like, so what? Now. I got Arch, I got Arch.
Well, he's not starting anyway. Like, even if he stays at Texas, he ain't starting next year. It's Arch's time.
What, if Ewers stays?
If Ewers stays, he ain't starting. It's going to be Archie or Arch. Arch is going to start. I mean, it's Ewers' time at Texas is done after this year. That was always the plan.
Yeah.
When Arch was recruited and when he committed and when he signed, he was going to sit behind Ewers. And then after 2024, it's Arch's turn. Because Ewers really wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be off to the NFL anyway. But
right.
His draft stock has fallen this year big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he was a Heisman candidate in September.
These quarterbacks can make more money in college for one more year. Because even their first year pro salary, even if you're a top 10 pick, I don't know what the bonus is, but I'd have to go look at that number. But I think you could probably make if he's getting $6 million. But I'd have to go research that. But with the bonuses because the contract itself isn't more than what it's backloaded for top draft picks, right? I know their salaries, and I have to go look that up.
And you get that extra that fifth year option instead of a fourth year option.
Right. So, God, how that would be interesting. And Carson Beck is, I guess, said he's going in the draft. But all these guys, none of them are, I think, highly rated. I mean, Carson Beck, does that really move the needle for you?
No.
I mean, against good competition, he sucked.
So, for instance, last year's
Antoine Winfield Jr. is practicing today.
Oh, what about Dean?
I don't
know if he's practicing yet.
Hey, let's take a break. Let's take our 11:30 break. I'm going to check the injury or the Pewter Report Twitter X machine, and they got eyes out there, and we'll see who's out there and who's not, and we'll give that to you. But man, I mean, all of this, we got a lot of comments on the quarterback stuff, so we'll get to your comments.
Yeah, do it.
And questions when we come back. We are brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source, folks. They got the post-holiday sale going on, so stop by the Gold and Diamond Source for a limited time only. You get 50% off everything in the store: rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, change, up to 50% off of everything. New Year's is the best time to get engaged as well. So where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry super center with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And you can get gift cards too. So don't let your special someone get exactly what they want with the gift card, and 3 to 5 years interest-free financing, all at the Gold and Diamond Source. Back at 3.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Hey, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There's been a lot of talk about lab-grown diamonds. Oh, they're just like the real thing. No, they're not. They're not the real thing. They're lab-grown. They're fake. You want to give your honey a fake diamond? Not a good way to start off the relationship, folks. Take my word for it. Get the real thing, and no place better to shop than the Gold and Diamond Source. And remember, if you shop anywhere else, you don't know if it's real. You don't know what you're buying. The Gold and Diamond Source has been in business for over 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors in our community. You know it's real. It's the only place to shop. And if you're planning to purchase for the holidays, don't forget to take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. You can reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. As always, we offer up to 5 years interest-free financing for just $84 a month when you finance $5,000. It's the only place to shop for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. It's a Thursday. All of the sports happening.
You caught me napping there.
I caught JP napping there.
Actually, I'm watching this.
Sports.
Watching this.
Oh, nice.
It's interesting. You can't really see it. Oh, shut up, Shane. So this is Kalen DeBoer, like walking off the field after the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yeah.
It's weird. You got to do everything, right? So he's like looking for people. Like everybody's hugging everybody, and I'm walking up like right there. Me and Fitzy are walking up, and I'm like, I see DeBoer, and I'm like, well, who's he talking to? See, there's Fitzy right there.
Right.
I'm right off to the left there. So I was like watching him the whole time, and nobody shook his hand. Like he didn't hug anybody. Like after, I mean, that's weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird? Like that's really weird. Like, I mean, you follow. I'll repost this on my Instagram. So there he is, like, Sherrod Moore, you're doing that thing. And so, like, there's recruits out there. There's guys that you recruited from the other team, that you'd be talking to, assistant coaches, the people that you know. And he's
Not,
like looking
not a
for
soul,
people.
huh?
You know, it's like me at a bar in college. Like nobody's saying anything. You're walking by your nobody.
Wow.
Nobody. Still walking.
Not a good look.
That is not a good look. That's weird. Sorry.
Mm.
And that's the thing about college. It's like all this stuff in college football right now. Quarterbacks winning national championships and going to rival teams, as reported here on the JP Peterson show.
Mm-hmm.
Some people in the chat here were saying that he's going to Miami. Has Miami got their portal quarterback yet this year? Worked out for him last year. I mean, you got that Pop-Tarts Bowl loss, but had a good season. Better than Florida State, that's for sure. Damn sure. Somebody in here said Miami's going for Quinn Ewers, and they'll pay.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. He might
but
dominate.
A&M, right?
That's better.
I don't even know what your quarterback situation is, but
Marcel Reed, he's good. I don't know if he's Quinn Ewers. They're entirely different. Like Quinn Ewers is a pocket passer. Marcel Reed's your running quarterback. So,
and who's your OC? Is he like the running quarterback guy, or is he? I mean, Quinn Ewers would be a huge upgrade, would he not? If he goes and wins, especially if he wins a national championship. I mean, I thought he played well.
Well, I mean, Colin Klein is the offensive coordinator. You know, the former Heisman Trophy finalist. So, but he's more of a running quarterback guy. Like that's part of why Connor Wigman, who was our 5-star recruit from the 2022 class, that's why he's now gone, because he doesn't run the offense well under Klein, and they need somebody like Marcel Reed, who's a running, a Cam Ward style, a running quarterback. So, so I don't know that Quinn Ewers would even work in this type of offense, but I'd sure like to see him try.
Right. I mean, it's not even about that, right? It's just about stealing Texas's quarterback at this point. Yeah.
Sit him and pay him to sit just so he can't play somewhere else. That's pretty funny.
From Greg Auman, Fox Sports covers, he was out of practice today, Bucs practice. Promising news on the injury front. Antoine Winfield practicing for the first time in weeks, and all 3 injured tight ends are working today as well. So there you go. Cade Otton could be back. Cade Otton could be back.
To see him back, yeah.
By the way, though, I mean, we talked a little bit about him. Devin Culp. We've heard that he's been really good in practice. So there's a 7th-round pick out of Washington that is going to be a productive pass catcher in the Bucs offense for years to come. I mean, Jason Light and his crew, like, how has nobody come and got John Spytek, his assistant general manager? The drafts that the Bucs are having and the roster that they've been able to put together, even after taking the Brady $32 million dead money cap hit.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? Like, who's doing it better?
So
than the Bucs right now.
I'd mentioned when you were off the air, I think it was when you were doing GMFB, that you and I would come back after the regular season was over and grade the player by player grade all the players that the Bucs drafted and give them a regular season grade. So we'll be doing that after the season's over. This is going to be pretty high teaser.
Yeah. This just in. I mean, who's got a better draft? First of all, Bucky Irving, if not for Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, because they're quarterbacks, he's the rookie offensive player of the year, right? As a 4th-round pick. Jalen McMillan.
And as a running back.
Jalen McMillan, who I said, about 5 weeks ago, and I still think he needs to get stronger and better. But once he gets physical and learns how to play with the physicality of an NFL receiver, puts on 10 pounds, damn, is he going to be good.
I think so too.
You won't have, defensive backs ripping the ball away from you.
Jalen McMillan's going to be the guy where when the option comes up, when his rookie deal's about over, you're going to have to think long and hard about what you want to do, because you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay. Well,
again, if he doesn't get stronger and get more physical, he's not going to be an elite receiver.
Right.
Like, he's going to be he can be good. He can be good, but he's not going to be elite. He's got a chance to be elite. He's really got a chance to be elite if he does. We did this comparison. You talked about this as Stevie Lamb. When he first came in, he was very, very spindly, as I like to call him.
Yeah.
It's just string bean arms, no upper torso, and you just get pushed around in the league. when you're like that. And he's probably put on what, 20 pounds of muscle.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
And become an elite receiver. And Jalen McMillan needs to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's got all the skill. And it's interesting when you put on that weight, you don't really lose speed. You don't.
Right.
You just become a better football player all the way around.
Well, and there's another question the Bucs are going to be confronted with here this offseason is, of course, with Godwin. And if you don't resign or you can't resign Godwin, now you really need McMillan to immediately in year 2 step into that Godwin role, which means he's going to have to beef up a little bit to be your number 2. And then if he is as successful as a number 2 as we think he will be, then you're going to be maybe having to overpay to keep him, depending on what else you do in the draft in the next 2 or 3 years.
This is where Todd Bowles' genius plan comes to bear fruit by leaving him in the game and getting him injured in a year where you're probably not good enough to win the Super Bowl. He now comes back as, instead of the leading receiver in the NFL on a free agent deal, a guy has injury questions and might need a prove it I'm healthy deal. And so you might be able to get him on if you can get him on the same type of contract that you got Mike Evans, like 2 years, $41 million guaranteed, sign him. And I think that's doable because he's very much like Mike Evans, where money is not the motivating factor. Winning is.
Right.
Like winning and being part of this family, this Buccaneers family that's been good to him. I think, and I might be wrong, but I think Chris, just like Mike, has become such an integral part of this community that he doesn't want to leave, and has such a great relationship with Baker Mayfield and Liam Cohen, and wants to see this through to win another Super Bowl. I think that's the type of guy he is. I don't think he's going to go, change everything for an extra $10 million on the back end. I don't see that. I could be wrong, but I think that injury does bring him very much into the fold this year. Otherwise, I think if he's the leading NFL receiver, there's just too much money thrown at him and you can't keep him. But at this point, I think from a cultural standpoint and I think he's going to come back and be just as effective because that's who he is. As bad as that injury is, I think he just, no one's going to rehab harder. No one, and he was able to come back from that devastating knee injury. I think he can come back from this and be really effective. So I think it kind of brings into play Chris Godwin. And can you imagine if you get a beefed up Jalen McMillan, a Chris Godwin, and an Evans? That's the triumvirate you had when you won the Super Bowl. That's Antonio Brown, Godwin, Evans, in my opinion. I think it's a very similar group. And Cade Otton, a year better, a year stronger. I mean, Cade Otton has really, I thought he was on the verge of becoming an elite tight end in this league before he got hurt. I mean, his numbers and just the way he's dragging people down with him, always falling forward, like he's become a very physical tight end and a great blocker too. And Payne Durham has developed tremendously. As Scott Reynolds said the other day, every one of these players on offense gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, yeah. Well, at least JTS is blocking punts now. I mean, look at the development of these defensive players. JTS, no. I mean, just across the board, they just don't develop for whatever coaching reason.
Right.
But whatever. All right. So another question. Saquon Barkley, 101 yards short.
Glad you have this.
Dickerson. Wow. And he's going to sit out. That's Saquon calling.
Yeah, Saquon's like, y'all going to talk about me today?
Sirianni on line one. What? I don't know where I sit on this one. I mean,
I do. I know where I sit.
Typically, I'm not a record. I'm a team guy. I'm not a record chaser. Not a record chaser. I'm team first guy. But damn, this is the record. Like, of all NFL records, what's royalty to you in terms of NFL records? I would say.
I mean, this.
The rush. I think
the all-time rushing record.
The all-time season rushing record and the all-time
career rushing
record. That's NFL royalty, is it not?
Well, especially in this day and age of supposed devaluation of the running back position, right?
Yes. Now, and you could go 17 versus 16 games, valid.
I mean, OJ did it in 14.
Yeah.
So
I saw that, by the way. I witnessed that. That's how old I am. against the Miami Dolphins.
Mhm.
Yeah, that guy. And by the way, running on that turf and some of the turfs that were around back in the 70s and 80s, holy
That
shit.
concrete floor that he ran on
Whoa. I mean, you
up at
can't even
Rich
imagine.
Stadium.
Or the Orange Bowl, that turf. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got down on that turf a couple times. I'm like, they play football on this? Are you freaking kidding me? So bad. Yeah. So OJ's right, but still. So Saquon, 100. I mean,
So I'm conflicted here because he's an Eagle. If he was still a Giant doing this, I think I would want him to break it. Of course, if he's an Eagle, I hope he suffers an injury that isn't hurt him so bad, but he can't play anymore. But dude, look, to me, the record can't be broken. I mean, ever, because OJ did it in 14 games. I know we don't do asterisks. They don't do it in baseball. I get it.
so for you, it's the yards per game that matter.
It's the yards per game that matters to me, and he's not close to what OJ put up in yards per game.
Right.
OJ averaged 143.1 yards per game.
How about yards per carry? See, because this is a much more passing skewed league that we're in. Let's be honest. Like
OJ still got him beat. OJ had a 6-yard per carry average. Barkley's at 5.8. OJ averaged 143.1 yards per game. Barkley's at 125.3.
Yeah.
So look, dude, I love watching records be
maybe
broken.
that's why he's sitting. Maybe that's why he's sitting, because it's like, even if I break it, Tim Ham's going to sit there and go, you didn't do right yards per game, yards per carry.
You know what? I would not do that. I would not. I might write about it, but I wouldn't say it on the air. Look, I
just did.
I hate to say this, but I kind of like Saquon. He's a freaking Penn State Nittany Lion, and he's an Eagle, and it makes my blood boil to have any support for an Eagle. But dude, this guy's awesome.
A Giant. Yeah.
Or I don't even care that he was a Giant. I don't hate. Look, I did this on.
You're just pissed because the Cowboys didn't sign him.
Well, they weren't
because he wasn't good enough or wouldn't have helped. What did Jerry say?
That he wouldn't have succeeded in this offense. Then you know what? Change your freaking offense, Jerry. That's what they said about Derrick Henry too when they didn't call Derrick Henry.
He would not have succeeded in this offense.
But look,
that is seriously the dumbest shit ever.
It's
like for anybody who professes to know anything about football, that is the dumbest shit ever. What, you don't have running plays?
He's 82.
You don't have running plays?
Yeah, we don't run the football here anymore.
It's all around Dak. No, any great running back is going to put up yards and take pressure off your quarterback and your passing game.
Just ask Jalen Hurts.
A much better passing team. A balanced offense is a better offense. Give me a balanced offense that puts up 30 points a game over a heavy pass offense or heavy run offense that puts up 31 points a game.
Go ask Jalen Hurts.
When you get into the playoffs, you got to have answers for everything.
Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, how running games are helping their teams and their careers and their passing game. Josh Allen's having a career year because they finally got a running back.
Right.
Go ask Dan Marino how he would have liked to have had a running back at some point in his career. Because he never got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Look, dude, I love watching records get broken, and I see both sides of this coin. I don't know how it was handled in Philly, if it was handled correctly, or if Saquon's just toting the company line here, like I would have been fine playing, and I'm okay sitting down. There is no way in his brain that he believes that he really thinks that. Maybe we need to get Sal Powell on to figure out what really went down, because I'm sure he knows how it really went down in Philly. But look, if you say we're going to play the guy, he's that close to the record. As soon as he gets a record, we're going to pull him. Okay, great. What if he gets hurt? What if he blows a knee out the play before he would have gotten the record? Or the play he does get the record?
I forget, who are they playing this week?
Giants, Commanders?
I think it might be Giants, yeah.
I mean, either way, it's obviously a meaningless game. That's the Giants. Yes, they're playing the Giants.
Yeah.
So
it is, and it is a meaningless game. Yeah,
it is.
Obviously, yeah. So
I mean, then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if he wasn't close to the record, if that wasn't here, would you play him? Well, no, obviously you're not going to play him in a meaningless game getting ready for the playoffs.
And if you're a Giants defender and they play him to get the record, I mean, I'm not saying anybody's taking cheap shots.
Your former teammate.
What's that? His former teammate, yeah. Yeah, that's true. So most of those guys on that team probably love him. Like, love him.
Yeah. And they're probably jealous because he was able to get the hell out of Dodge. They're still under contract.
Do you think they would lay down?
No, because he's an Eagle. I don't know. See, players, that's what I'm saying. Players these days don't care about team affiliation.
They don't care.
They're all
There's
buddies.
no
They're all
loyalty.
friends.
Yeah, they're all boys. It's like wink, wink. Listen, you'll have it by the first quarter. Just play. It's like, is he texting his boys at the Giants, on defense going, what do you think, guys? Dude, we don't care. We're toast. We need a quarterback. We need a better draft pick. Just go out there. We're not going to hit you. Just get your record and you'll be done by halftime. Right? I mean,
it would be funny if the Giants went out and won that game now.
Isn't it I mean, are we wrong here? I think that's totally happening. Is this Saquon's decision or is it Sirianni's decision? I mean, who's calling the shot? I mean, who's calling the shots here? Yeah. And how does that reverberate throughout the team heading into the play? I mean, because that team is already emotionally and mentally fragile, yeah. Very fragile.
Yeah.
Right?
Fragile.
It's Italian.
And look, a decision like that had to come from Sirianni is not solely responsible for that decision. That had to be a Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman. They all had the three get together in a room and go, what are we going to do? I mean, this can't – if Howie Roseman wanted him to play, he's going to go to Lurie and talk Lurie into it, and they're going to go to Sirianni and go, you're playing him. You're playing him for the first quarter.
And does the Eagle offense, does the offensive line go, dude, we want the record?
Yeah. Because that's as much of an offensive line record as it is.
Damn right it is. Damn right it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, offensive linemen aren't happy about that. I mean, they have a fragile mentality. I mean, they do. We saw it last year. The roster didn't go away. The quarterback coach, somebody did somebody wrong. It was something happened.
It's good reference.
Somebody screwed somebody's mind. Somebody did something. I don't know what, and nobody seems to know what it's, except that it was between the coach and the quarterback.
Right.
Like we seem to know that was it. And it reverberated throughout the whole locker room. And then
I
they
think
changed.
It's still there, by the way. It's
got to be stuff. If the people are still there, there's something there. So now we go and we do this. And is this Barkley's decision? How does the offensive line feel about it? I got to believe the Giants are going to lay down like dogs to let him do it and get him out by halftime. It's a big deal, man. Like, I mean, he's not going to, I doubt Saquon's going to get another contract, but that's a legacy play. That's a legacy play, dude. You got the freak. How old is that record? 37 years or something?
73.
Yeah.
1973.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, to your point, there'll be asterisk, but your name is going to be at the top of the list. Single season rushing record. Saquon effing Barkley.
For probably another 40 years at least.
At least. Does that add to your signing fee for card shows, right?
Oh,
I mean, it's a money thing. It's a money thing. I mean, doesn't Emmett sign all-time leading rusher or whatever the hell, right?
Ask Mark Gastineau how that affects you.
Oh my God, dude, totally switch brain over the whole damn thing.
Poor Mark Gastineau.
You hurt me, bro.
How much money you cost me? Poor Brett's like, what are you talking about? What's this nut job talking about over here?
You hurt me, man.
You hurt me. Well, you hurt me. That's so great, man. I swear. Yeah, we don't need Saquon here in 30 years.
Should we play that?
No, I don't have it.
Mr.
I'd have to go get it. Poor guy.
Like your top 10 sports moments of the year, top 10 most awkward sports moments of the year.
Oh, thank God for that handler. Thank God for that handler that Brett had where it's like, Brett, we need you over here. And he was like, I got to go. Other than that,
there's a signing over here. You're missing Joey, the basement dweller's waiting for your autograph.
Oh, my God, dude. Mark
over here.
No.
That was weird, man.
But look, Saquon's already in the 2,000-yard club.
Maybe I shouldn't be making fun of him.
Why? Does he live close to you?
No, I mean, is that a CTE thing?
Oh, you know it is. It has to be.
Am I laughing at his disability? I'm not laughing, but it was weird. It was. I'm not laughing at his disability.
We're laughing at the situation, is what we're laughing at.
Right?
How awkward it was.
It was.
But look,
You hurt me, Brett.
Barkley's already in the 2,000-yard club. It's not like he's not there. And there's only 9 people that have ever done that in the history of the game.
Yeah, but it's single season rushing record.
Yeah, they may not be thinking. Maybe they didn't see that Mark Gastineau Brett Favre video, and they don't know how this is going to cost him money in the future.
But seriously, though, that has to be reverberating through the locker room.
Man, the offensive, like you said, offensive line can't be happy with that.
Rick says, rest Barkley. The Eagles lose in the first round. Let them eat their own.
I love that scenario. I hope
It's
that happens.
true, though.
Anyway.
I'm like, from a Bucs fan perspective, yeah, this is a good thing. More turmoil for the Eagles. More turmoil for the Eagles. Yes. Because now they're a hot team, right? You just smoked the Cowboys. Now you're going to rest all your starters. They won't get a bye, but they'll have to play week 1 at home, right? So who are they going to play? They're going to play probably Commanders.
Let's see. They'll have to look at how they're seeded right now.
So they'd be the 2 seed.
Right now in the NFC, you have, Lions were right now. Again, they have to play Minnesota, but the Eagles are locked into the 2 seed. They can't go up or down.
Right.
So they'll be the 2 seed. So they would play right now. They would play the Commanders.
Right. Commanders.
Well,
Packers.
no. They would play. See, the 1 seed's out. So it's 2 versus 7. It would be. Wait, no, what is it?
Commanders, Packers.
Commanders, Packers.
Right. And then the Bucs will get the Minnesota, Detroit loser.
Right. Yep.
But that could flip flop.
Because that would be the 4 seed. Yeah. Because they would be the 4. The Bucs would be the 4 seed.
Either way, they're going to be at home.
Right now it's the Vikings. Yeah.
Either way, they're going to be at home week 1. Having rested a week and had a whole week, 2 weeks of this controversy over Barkley, and there'll be more stuff that'll come out. Yeah. I mean, Rick was right. Jared didn't want King Henry. He didn't
want anybody.
He didn't want anybody.
No, they did want King Henry. They just didn't think they could afford him. And literally, they went and signed Ezekiel Elliott. I'm so freaking frustrated. I'm about to go off on a Jerry rant. And
Michael LaRue, good morning to you. It reminds us the Falcons could have signed Lamar Jackson last offseason.
You know what? Everybody had a chance to sign Lamar Jackson offseason. Nobody offered him diddly poop. He didn't even get a look from anybody.
And let's just be honest, that everybody who didn't offer was because everybody knew that the Ravens were going to match. Yes. The Ravens were going to match any offer that was out there. So it was you were exposing yourself and saying we did. You never want to do that.
Please don't expose yourself.
Whoever your quarterback was, that we were getting a better one. But if you're filling up, if you're Atlanta, you're like, oh, we're done with Desmond Ridder. Oh, yeah. or we're hurting his feelings.
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. But they wouldn't have got it. I think everybody
and that's
knew
like
that.
A gentleman's agreement between the owners too. The owners know how things are working in the offseason and who's going where and who's going to re-sign. Like they know all of that, and they work on that.
All right, we'll end with this because we haven't done any Bolts talk. Much Bolts talk. Winter Classic in Tampa. Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
What? Where?
Yeah. Raymond James Stadium.
Oh, you can't play a winter. Well, I guess if you can play one in Dallas, you can play one in Tampa, huh?
Yeah, we're having freezing temperatures next week. Supposedly. Yeah.
I mean, we had one at the Cotton Bowl. It was great. Dude, I loved that. It was a great experience.
What was the date?
That's New Year's Day. It's always New Year's Day. This was 4 years ago.
Oh, it's not. They have lots of outdoor games that aren't New Year's Day.
Well, the Winter Classic is on New Year's Day, right? That's what it is.
Well, they definitely no. Well, there's lots of Winter Classics now, and when we're talking Winter Classic, I think we're just talking outdoor game. Because there's a bunch of them now, right? There's a few of them. So,
well, like for instance,
they would have to, because they couldn't do it in January here. They would have to be in February because especially January 1st, you can't do it at Raymond James Stadium because of the Rely Quest Bowl.
Right.
There's no way you could flip it in a day to be a hockey rink.
Let them do it at Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah. I don't think that's what we're looking for, but no, I think they would have to do it in early February or late January because just the availability of the place. So yeah,
like for instance, this year they played it on December 31st.
Well, the one we went to in Nashville was like February something.
What?
When the Lightning played in Nashville? Yeah, it wasn't New Year's Day.
I thought it was always a New
No,
Year's.
no. There's a few of them. All right. Did we miss anything else? I believe not.
I don't think we got everything.
That'll do it for us today, folks, here on the first show of 2025. We will be back tomorrow. Kevin O'Donnell's going to join us from Fox 13. He just announced his retirement after 30 years plus as a sportscaster there.
Wow.
So we'll chat with him tomorrow. I believe Joey Johnston's going to join us at some point to talk some USF football. So we'll have Friday. Well, are we going to have Tito Friday tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay.
Fantasy football or whatever, OSU.
Come up and prayers that everything goes fine today at the Sugar Bowl. Lord, please. And again, prayers to all the victims and the families of this tragic New Orleans terrorist attack. Stay safe out there, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.